Welcome to First Parish in Needham, a Unitarian Universalist congregation founded in 1711 along with the town of Needham. We are a proud LGBTQ welcoming congregation, climate justice seeking green sanctuary, and level 2 sanctuary supporting congregation for immigration justice. Whoever you are, whatever your background, and wherever you're watching from, you are welcome here. I'm Rana Dorfer. I am the Auction Committee Co-Chair, a member of the Internship Committee, and a 3-year member of First Parish. I'm happy to report that our 2021 virtual mini auction that was held January 24th through February 7th, our first ever virtual auction was a success, thanks to all of you. We raised just over $7,000, blowing well past the goal that we had in mind, which was nowhere near $7,000. I wanted to come on here today to thank each and every one of you for your donations. Whether it was in time, effort, a service, an item, or a financial donation. Without you and your support for First Parish, we wouldn't have been able to make this auction such a success. Thank you so much. This congregation has been nothing but welcoming to me, an immigrant, a woman of color, a Muslim woman. And, the money we raise doesn't just go towards, all the things that we have in our budget and all the things that we need to do, but it goes towards keeping our church open and functioning, and it's a welcoming congregation, which is much needed in today's climate. And I'm so thankful that I was able to find my home here in First Parish spiritually. And I'm so lucky that this is my second go around to serve as your committee co-chair along with Carolyn Lyons. So I just wanted to thank you so much to everyone that donated in any capacity. Thank you. Without you, this would not have been the success that it was. As you know, what's happening right now at the congregation is very different than usual because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Although our building's closed, our faith community is open. We hope all of you will plug into our Zoom gathering opportunities throughout the week, including Zoom social hour after every Sunday service. You can learn more about all that's happening at First Parish by going to our website, uuneedham.org, or by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. To get the Zoom links, please sign up for our weekly email newsletter by going to our website and clicking Get Involved Newsletter, or sending your request to office@uuneedham.org. Our sincere hope is that these online services and connection opportunities will help us keep the physical distance required during this pandemic without losing much of the spiritual, emotional, and social closeness that we treasure in our faith community. If you're watching this service as it live streams, please take a moment now to say hello and introduce yourself in the YouTube chat box. Welcome again to everyone, and good morning.
As we light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, we read words from Black American poet and professor Elizabeth Alexander. This poem, Praise Song for the Day, was written for President Obama's inauguration. Each day we go about our business, going past each other, catching each other's eyes or not, about to speak or speaking. All about us is noise, all about us is noise and bramble, thorn and din, each of our ancestors on our tongues. Someone is stitching up a hem, darning a hole in a uniform, patching a tire, repairing things in need of repair. Someone is trying to make music somewhere with a pair of wooden spoons on an oil drum with cello, boombox, harmonica, voice. A woman and her son wait for the bus. A farmer considers the changing sky. A teacher says, "Take out your pencils, begin." We encounter each other in words spiny or smooth, whispered or declaimed, words to consider, reconsider. We cross dirt roads and highways that mark the will of someone and then others who said, "I need to see what's on the other side. I know there's something better down the road." We need to find a place where we are safe. We go into that which we cannot yet see. Say it plain, that many have died for this day. Sing the names of the dead who brought us here, who laid the train tracks, raised the bridges, picked the cotton and the lettuce, built brick by brick the glittering edifices they would keep clean and work inside of. Praise song for the struggle, praise song for the day, praise song for every hand-lettered sign, the figuring it out at kitchen tables. Some live by, love thy neighbor as thyself, others by first do no harm or take no more than you need. What if the mightiest word is love? Love beyond marital, filial, national, love that casts a widening pool of light, love with no need to preempt grievance. In today's sharp sparkle, this winter air, anything can be made, any sentence begun, on the brink, on the brim, on the cusp. Praise song for journeying forward in that light. Our opening hymn this morning is Lift Every Voice and Sing, also known as the Black National Anthem. It was first performed as a poem in 1900 by 500 Black children at a segregated school in commemoration of Lincoln's birthday. It was written by Black writer, attorney, and professor James Weldon Johnson and set to music by his brother, composer Rosamond Johnson. Please join in singing from home, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the
In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the covenant is a set of promises the membership of a congregation strives to honor with one another and out in the world. Though we cannot gather in person during this time, we strive to live these promises every day. Please say along with me from home the words of our parish covenant as shown on your screen. We gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another. We gather as a diverse community to support each other in our search for spiritual truth. We gather as a service community to live our beliefs through action and care for our world.
Hi everyone. Sometimes in our lives we talk about important topics that we ourselves may not feel that we know that much about. So during times like that, I like to go to the people that know a lot more than me. So today, as we talk about racism, I want to introduce this book to you called Anti-Racist Baby. The book itself seems a little old for babies, but the wisdom within the book can speak to people of all ages. Anti-Racist Baby by Ibram X. Kendi, illustrated by Ashley Lukashevsky. Anti-racist baby is bred, not born. Anti-racist baby is raised to make society transform. Babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There's no neutrality. Take these 9 steps to make equality a reality. 1. Open your eyes to all skin colors. Anti-racist baby learns all the colors not because race is true. If you claim to be colorblind, you deny what's right in front of you. 2. Use your words to talk about race. No one will see racism if we only stay silent. If we don't name racism, it won't stop being so violent. 3. Point at policies as the problem, not people. Some people get more, while others get less, because policies don't always grant equal access. 4. Shout, there's nothing wrong with the people. Even though all races are not treated the same, we are all human. Anti-racist baby can proclaim. 5. Celebrate all our differences. Anti-racist baby doesn't see certain groups as better or worse. Anti-racist baby loves a world that's truly diverse. 6. Knock down the stack of cultural blocks. Anti-racist baby appreciates how groups can speak, dance, and create as they choose. Anti-racist baby welcomes all groups voicing their unique views. 7. Confess when being racist. Nothing disrupts racism more than when we confess the racist ideas that we sometimes express. 8. Grow to be an anti-racist. Anti-racist baby is always learning, changing, and growing. Anti-racist baby stays curious about all people and isn't all-knowing. 9. Believe we shall overcome racism. Anti-racist baby is filled with the power to transcend, my friend, and doesn't judge a book by its cover, but reads until the end. Let's reflect once more on those 9 ways we can approach our anti-racism work. Take these 9 steps to make equity a reality. Open your eyes to all skin colors. Use your words to talk about race. Point at policies as the problem, not people. Shout, there's nothing wrong with the people. Celebrate all our differences. Knock down the stack of cultural blocks. Confess when being racist. Grow into being an anti-racist. Believe we shall overcome racism. I wonder which one you feel you are already good at. I wonder which one you want to strive to be better at. I wonder which one you think we should be doing more here at First Parish.
It's now time to share with one another our joys and concerns from the past week. These joys and concerns were submitted to our ministerial intern, Jenna Crawford, at internminister@uuneedham.org by the Thursday before this service. If you did not submit a candle but would like to share with the community this morning, you're invited to enter your message into the chat box. As our services live stream to YouTube and Zoom, we cannot guarantee that your joys, concerns, sorrows, and milestones will stay within the First Parish community. But you are welcome to reach out to me, Jenna, or our Pastoral Care Associate of the Week, Buffy Dewig, for pastoral care or to share more privately. If you're missing hearing each other's voices during this beloved ritual, may this also serve as a reminder to reach out to one another. May this beloved community be sustained by your creativity and care for each other during this time. We begin with a candle of love from C.C. Ganacanto. For the words, "Our service begins when our service ends," jumping into action when a simple appeal produced 130 baby beanie hats for Zimbabwean babies. With deep humility and gratitude, C.C. thanks the ladies of First Parish and other community members who just acted and cared. A candle of joy and progress from our worship producer, Tom Pugh, whose wife, Sandra, was released from the COVID unit of her local hospital last weekend and is now steadily improving in rehab. We pray for her full recovery and return home. A candle of joy from Beth Gaiman on the occasion of her father Tom's birthday, which is today. Happy birthday, Tom. A candle of sorrow for our assistant music director, Kate Loftus-Camp, and her family, after her father, David, died last weekend from a heart attack. We hold them in prayer. A candle of mixed joy and concern for my spouse's cousin, who gave birth to her daughter, Harper Hazel, last weekend at only 24 weeks gestation. Please keep Harper, who remains in the NICU, and her parents, Sarah and Sean, in your hearts and prayers. A candle of concern and sorrow for all those living in Texas and northern Mexico who have been affected by the combination of natural disaster and unpreparedness and greed on the part of their power company and local government. We are blessed that the warm weather there has returned, but we know that things are not normal. And a final silent candle to represent the joys not yet ripe for sharing and the concerns and sorrows we may still carry in our hearts. As we hold the joys, concerns, and sorrows of our faith community in our hearts, I invite us to join together in the spirit of meditation and mindfulness with this survival meditation from queer Euro-American UU minister and professor of First Amendment law, Reverend Dr. Nathan Walker. We will begin and end with the sound of the singing bowl. Breathing in, I am aware of my pain. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my pain. Breathing in, I am aware of my past. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my past. Breathing in, I am aware of my anger. And breathing out, I am aware that I am not my anger. Breathing in, I am aware of my despair. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my despair. Breathing in, I am aware of peace. Breathing out, I am aware that I am worthy of peace. Breathing in, I am aware of love. Breathing out, I am aware that I am worthy of love. Breathing in, I am aware of joy. And breathing out, I am aware that I am an agent of joy. Breathing in, I am aware of hope. And breathing out, I am aware that I am an agent of hope. Breathing in, I am aware. Breathing out, I am aware. We are aware. We are breathing in. We are aware that we are breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Amen. Please now join in singing from home our meditative response, There is More Love Somewhere.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere.
Hello, we are the Pharaoh Jansowitz family, and we'd like to share why we like being involved with First Parish in Needham.
I like being involved with First Parish in Needham because I really like Song Squad because I get to be with other kids singing safely.
I enjoy doing Coming of Age because it allows me to explore my religious beliefs with my mentor and my peers.
I appreciate First Parish because in the spring when the pandemic began, everything stopped, but First Parish kept going on, offering us a lot of important programs.
And I like First Parish because it has programs and opportunities for everyone in our family, and it's been very supportive during the pandemic. First Parish is a very, very important part of our lives.
Many thanks to the Janskowitz-Farrow family for sharing what First Parish means to you. This congregation has been supported by the volunteered time and treasure of its members and friends since its founding in 1711. This is the time in our service when we, the modern stewards of this church, offer what we can to build and sustain the congregation and the world we envision. This Sunday, our collection will be given in its entirety to the UUA Disaster Relief Fund. The UUA Disaster Relief Fund awards grants to UU congregations, individuals, and their community partners in the wake of natural disasters and holes in the social safety net. In addition to grants related to COVID-19, the Disaster Relief Fund is presently assisting UUs and community partners affected by the winter storm and power grid failure in Texas. First parishioners are also encouraged to donate directly to community mutual aid societies and their partners in various Texan cities, including Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, El Paso, and Houston. To donate to today's offering to the UUA Disaster Relief Fund, you can use one of 3 different methods. You can use our Text to Give program through the number 73256 with the exact wording of UU Needham, space plate or pledge 21, space $, and the amount you want to give. You can mail a check to First Parish at 23 Dedham Avenue, or you can make a donation through our website, uuneedham.org, and select Donate Now under the Giving box. Whichever way, remember to specify whether your donation is meant for the plate collection or for your annual pledge. Thank you for everything you are able to give to help support and sustain this congregation and the vital work of our community partners. Please take these next few moments to give what you can and know it will be gratefully received. Our reading this morning comes from Caribbean-American womanist and activist Audre Lorde. She was active in the feminist, LGBTQ, and civil rights movements, and we've just passed what would have been her 87th birthday. This is her poem, A Litany for Survival. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone, for those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward at once, before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hoped to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. And when the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive. Here ends our reading. As a white person, it can feel strange, uncomfortable to preach about Black History Month and the Black American experience. I feel that I should not be in a position of preaching, but of receiving, learning, growing my understanding. I know that Audre Lorde's litany is not about me, though I can relate to it as a woman, as a new mother, as an active member of a community I love. It's not about me. Yet her words and the words of other Americans of African descent are essential to share, in part to remind myself of the struggles and the resilience of those who do not have the racial privilege that I do. Black History Month gives me the annual opportunity, the annual challenge, to see this nation from a perspective different from my own. We know well here at First Parish how the history of racial oppression in this nation can be hidden, whitewashed, as some phrase it, as was our own churches and towns' history of enslavement of African peoples and participation in the genocide of indigenous peoples and the theft of their land. This is what educational theorists call the null curriculum, what is left out of the curriculum and what those omissions teach us. I never learned the name of Sally Hemings, enslaved and insulted by Virginia's own Thomas Jefferson, in my history classes in Fairfax, Virginia. Needham Public Schools before this year only mentioned New England slavery in one elective class at Needham High. Now, this isn't the only way history is hidden. Just this past week, I watched a TikTok video on YouTube. I'm not cool enough to have a TikTok account, wherein a young Black man, Hector Fotilian, filmed his reactions live to his AP US history teacher. We're dropped into the middle of a conversation about enslavement. You hear the teacher ask, "The white people do what?" And a young woman reply, "They would crack the whips. They would crack the slaves with whips." And then the teacher responds, "They wouldn't do that to slaves." The students object, and the teacher threatens to throw them out of class unless they're willing to have an honest conversation. Then he gives them a lecture about how the N-word isn't actually offensive, or about Black folks, and that, like the N-word, a person saying a woman's place is in the kitchen isn't necessarily hate speech. I know I said that Audre Lorde's litany of survival isn't about me, but I might put some nuance on that. White people and white supremacy are present in that poem because it is white supremacy that makes Black, Indigenous, people of color afraid. It is white supremacy that has tried and still tries to prevent BIPOC people from surviving. Black History Month is a gift in the United States to help all of us correct the history we were taught or not taught. First Parish, as a majority non-Black congregation in a majority non-Black town, can choose to be open to receiving this gift, even if we feel uncomfortable or strange or unsettled by what we learn. As those of you who participated in the Lane Lyceum last week about the 8th Principle Project know, this is part of the work of journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and in our institutions. Black queer Unitarian Universalist Jabari Jones writes about the Ghanaian Akan word Sankofa, symbolized by a bird with its head turned around to take an egg from its back. The Sankofa heron illustrates a Twi proverb. Translated, it says, "It is no sin to go back and fetch what you have forgotten." Jones writes, "I've adopted the practice of spiritual reconnection with my ancestors to heal intergenerational trauma because we cannot heal and grow at the same time. I read books on whiteness and on Black history, a history for which there is no national standard or curriculum, to better understand how I got here and imagine where I want to go. One thing I've learned is that at the core of white privilege is the entitlement to amnesia and ignorance, to forget that America was founded on stolen land, stolen labor, and genocide, and that we live in a society structured by this history. It is to embrace an identity rooted in a false innocence and a flight from truth and healing. This is the rot at the root of the nation. And so we go back and fetch what is forgotten. We know to varying depths that history of white supremacist culture and individuals oppressing Americans of African descent, beginning with kidnapping and enslavement to Jim Crow and voter suppression and redlining to police brutality and mass incarceration and more voter suppression. And even right now, when Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color are disproportionately affected by the mismanaged response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The oppression of systemic dehumanization and brutality that Black Americans have faced from white Americans and institutions since 1619 is almost too overwhelmingly horrific to comprehend. And yet Black Americans have survived these 400 years of psychological and physical violence and deprivation, though of course not all of them did. Black professor of psychology, Dr. Denise Brown, studies resiliency in African Americans and Black communities and has found two major protective factors against ongoing societal oppression. First, a racial socialization of pride and understanding of African American heritage, and second, a network of familial and community support, including of faith communities. It's crucial to acknowledge, as a PBS series with Black historian Dr. Henry Louise Gates is doing right now, the importance and the impact of the Black church. Black liberation theology has been foundational to Black survival under white supremacist violence for centuries. This includes theologies of inherent worth, the theology during enslavement that a loving parent God and brother Jesus are leaders to freedom in this life and the afterlife, and the theology of the civil rights movement that Black people are somebody, and the theology that Black lives matter. Black Christian theologian and professor James Cone wrote, "God came and continues to come to those who are poor and helpless for the purpose of getting them free. God has not ever, no, not ever, left the oppressed alone in the struggle. God was with them in Pharaoh's Egypt, is with them in America, Africa, and Latin America, and will come in the end of time to consummate fully their human freedom." I do wonder what it would mean for non-Black individuals and communities to experience more truthful racial socialization that instills amazement and humility in the history of Black excellence, and to adopt theologies and philosophies of liberation that challenge us to acknowledge that God or goodness is rooting for those facing oppression from the privileged. To survive oppression does not mean, though, that individuals or communities have been given a fertile environment to thrive. A debate among some Black public intellectuals is how this history manifests in Black communities and individuals today. Modern Black researcher and professor of social work, Dr. Joy DeGruy, developed the theory of post-traumatic slave syndrome, PTSS, that descendants of enslaved African peoples experience a multi-generational trauma with symptoms not dissimilar to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Such theories of transgenerational trauma have also been studied in Jewish descendants of those who survived the concentration camps in the Holocaust. Black therapist Dr. Monica Hinton summarizes the symptoms of PTSS as avoiding certain places, people, or activities and events that may remind the individual of the trauma or experience, difficulty concentrating, feeling jumpy or being easily angered, feelings of hopelessness, depression, and a general self-destructive outlook, and racial socialization and internalized racism, which includes direct and indirect messages children receive about racism and the meaning of race. Except for the internalized racism, these symptoms are shared with PTSD. DeGruy believes that PTSS exists both in individuals and in communities. She argues that post-traumatic slave syndrome must not only be treated in individual therapy, but also requires systemic change in American institutions that perpetuate that awful legacy of enslavement. On the other hand, the author of our Time for All Ages story, Black historian and activist Ibram Kendi, criticizes the post-traumatic slave syndrome theory, writing that Black Americans' history of oppression has made Black opportunities, not Black behaviors, inferior. Despite experiencing a modern history of traumatic oppression, Black people have found a way to maintain their equally imperfect humanity. Black people as a group do not need to be healed from racist trauma. All Black people need is to be freed from racist trauma today. There is also an important critique that I personally am striving to take to heart as a person publicly engaged in research on enslavement history, that Black history is not only trauma. The Unitarian Universalist organizing collaborative Black Lives of UU issued a statement on trauma and resilience preceding the 2020 election. Blue said, "Black people have survived generations of violent oppression, and yet our responses to that violence are not what make us resilient. Gauging Black resilience by our response to white violence is racist. You're not talking about Black resilience if you're only talking about how Black people respond to trauma." On an episode of the La Cura podcast, somatics practitioner Prentice Hemphill says, "Resilience is not an acclamation to conditions, but a commitment to life. We are resilient because our ancestors believed in our lives when there was no reason to even believe they'd survive. They dreamed us into existence. They prayed us into being. They organized for themselves so that we could carry the mantle. And they didn't just believe we'd survive. They believed we could thrive." Joy is a key component of resilience we haven't discussed explicitly yet, though it's implied in healthy, caring, supportive communities, including in healthy, caring, supportive Unitarian Universalist communities, striving toward multiculturalism and inclusion. Black trans Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Michael Slack said in an interview with the UU Service Committee that Unitarian Universalism is a living, breathing thing reflective of the lived experiences of the people who want and need it. We understand Unitarian Universalism to be an orientation toward love, liberation, and justice, ideas and actions that are central to our lives, however our spirit, faith, connective paths get us there. Blue has always believed in investing in people, ideas, organizing, theologies, be-ologies, do-ologies, and Black futures where white supremacy and colonization have no place and cannot thrive. We have always been committed to being and doing in our communities in ways that uphold, amplify, and affirm Black life. We are going to remain mindful of our own care and the care of Black people in our midst, and the work continues. We'll continue to offer twice-monthly worship, pastoral care, organizing work, and community-building opportunities of various kinds, because that's what our folks say they want and need. And we're well-practiced at pivoting, doing a new thing when a new thing is called for. As hard as it's been, I continue to be hopeful about our ongoing work and about our Black futures. And that may be one of the most exciting parts of Black History Month. To take time to envision or bask in the vision of Black futures, of equitable, multicultural futures. While we may follow the Sankofa bird to retrieve what was lost, the Sankofa bird still moves forward into the future as a symbol. Allow me to share these words from Euro-American UUA regional staff member Mek Groot. Today I sing praise for the gift of Black lives. For precious, irreplaceable lives, Emmett, Trayvon, Eric, Tamir, Freddie, Treasure, Sandra, Brianna, George, Skylar, and whose names I recall at all because of Alicia, Opal, and Patrice, and all the Harriets, Sojourners, Ellas, and Marcias before them, breathed life into memory and declared, these lives matter. Today, I sing praise for all the Fannie Lou's and Maxines and Stacy's who resist poll taxes, registration tests, gerrymandering, and every manner of disenfranchisement over again and again and again and again, year after year after year. Today, I especially sing praise for all those who swung whole states and offered to us a measure of blessed relief from lies, deceit, and insurrection. I sing praise for the people who taught Cornell that justice is what love looks like in public and tenderness is what love looks like in private. People about whom he proclaims this fact. Here in our midst in this hemisphere for 400 years, Black folk chronically, systematically, institutionally were hated and yet taught the world so much about love, taught the world so much about how to love. While no praise I sing today is worthy of that truth of said fact, my grateful heart seeks to try. Today I praise those of African descent, known and unknown, breathing upon Mother Earth or resting in the lap of the ancestors, who have taught me again and again that there are no nobodies, that our somebodyness is conferred by the divine when we are born, never through any privilege we may systemically or accidentally be born into, that there is only one human race and we belong to one another. I sing praise for Octavia and all her brood who teach us to believe in a future where there is no history called Black and no history that is not also Black. May each and all of us accept this gift of Black History Month and allow what we learn to inspire us to be supportive and collaborative in our action in the future. Blessed be, and amen.
As we close our worship today, you are all invited to stay with us for our Zoom social hour. Please remember to keep a careful eye out for emails from First Parish and follow us on social media so you can keep up with opportunities for connection for all ages throughout the week during these times of physical isolation. You can sign up for our weekly email by clicking on Subscribe to Newsletter on our website, uunedum.org. Please remember, if you fall ill or need any pastoral support, to reach out to Ministers Reverend Katie and Jenna Crawford and Pastoral Care Team and Care and Crew via phone or email. We also encourage all of you strongly to check in with your friends at First Parish and to double check your own contact information in our online realm directory if you have not done so recently. Please email our office administrator, Susanna Whitman, if you have any questions about using our online directory. We always extinguish our chalice with words promising to carry its flame in our hearts until we are together again, no matter how long it is until we are together again. As we extinguish our chalice today, please join me from home in saying those words written by Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our closing hymn, We Shall Overcome, is an African-American slave spiritual that was repopularized during the Civil Rights Movement. Please join in singing from home, We Shall Overcome.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall all be free someday.
Yes, there's much work to be done, much history to uncover, much transformation to pursue in our own selves, in our congregation, and in the wider community. But if we commit to journey toward justice, hand in hand with one another and our neighbors, we have faith we will indeed all live in peace someday. Let's let our light shine to illuminate Black history, Black excellence, and Black futures. Our service begins when our service ends. Blessed be, and amen.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.